Hey guys, I think it's time we put solar panels on this bus. What do you think? What's up guys, welcome to another bus build. I think today finally we're going to put the solar panels up, but first we have to put the mounting brackets on the top of the roof of the bus in order for the solar panels to sit upon it. I am actually making some custom brackets, and I'll show you here in a second what the materials will be, but it'll essentially allow me to angle my solar panels on either side of the bus. So if the sun's over here, I can angle them up on this side, or depending on where I park the bus, if the sun is over here, I can angle it both on that axis as well. So we'll go ahead and get started with that, but let me share with you the materials that are actually going to, that we'll need to do it, so in case you want to do it, you can follow along and hopefully I don't steer you in the wrong direction. But to begin with, so what we're gonna need, we're gonna need 4 slotted angle brackets, similar to what you see in like your garage. Next you're gonna need 2 punched square tubings. You're gonna also need a tube or 2 of silicone, and then self-tapping screws, and then also a roll of butyl sealing tape. Once you have those, and you kind of get started on where you need to go. Alright guys, so there's a couple of preparations I have to do before I actually start drilling holes into the roof of the bus, which I'm super nervous about. But what I want to do is lay everything out first to make sure that it's all going to fit and work as what I need it to be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of those angle slotted irons here and basically mount it right up against where this hatch is going to be, and that's going to be one side of where the solar panels are going to sit, and then the other side is going to be right behind where the camera is, and then that will be the other point to where we drill into the bus. Now there's a couple things that I need to do first before I do that, and I need to find where the studs are on underneath the bus. And what I can show you in just a minute is where these are actually located under the bus, and I can actually mark them on these angle irons and know exactly where I need to drill. And then I also have a stud finder just in case, just to be double sure. That way I don't drill a hole and miss it, and then I have to patch it, and then that wouldn't be that much fun. So I'm gonna take you down real quick and show you what I mean. Alright guys, I got you out here at a funny angle just to show you what I mean and where I'm actually drilling into on the bus. I have these ribs that are in the bus that go along both towards the front and then towards the back. What I mean is always great. So what I want to find out is the middle and what I'll be actually drilling into. And on these angle irons, I can find what where the middle is. And I think I already did it on this one, which yes, I did here. All I did was measured the entire thing, of course, halved it, and then saw where that half is, and then marked it. So what I'll do is I'll put this up top, and I know exactly where the middle is there, and so then I can go over to the other side and see, if I don't move it in the meantime, and see where the other middle is going to be, right there. That's pretty center. That's still real center. And then also on that other side, and that one is center as well. So now that I have these marked right here, let's see if it'll focus on this. See, I have it marked right here, and it has this small, perfectly round hole. So I know that's my main one I'm going to be drilling into. But before I actually do that once more, there's two things that have to come down before I actually can attach these and put the solar panels on them. And I have to put metal plating over these things because just a couple more things I have to move. So I'll show you. These antennas on top of the bus here are going to be in my way, and I have no need for them because I actually unplugged them because I didn't know, of course, what they were. But and I might have to remove that one, I'm not sure, but I know these two have to go, and underneath they're attached, so when I remove them they'll have holes in the ceiling. So what I did is I got a piece of aluminum that will go over both sides, but I actually have to break those up into the right size in order to patch these holes correctly and to make it sure it's pretty waterproof. So I'll show you that here in a second, but let me show you the undersides of these. Okay guys, so now we're underneath the roof, seeing where these actually are sitting under the bus. That one is that first really tall antenna I was telling you about. And then if we move towards the front, you have that second dome looking one. I cut all the cables off, as you can see, and definitely don't need it. So I need to figure out how to take these off and then patch them up before I actually get anywhere with that. So let's see about getting some aluminum cut to the right size and go from there. Alright guys, so this is the first antenna here I'm going to try to take off. It's got some screws covered up by some silicone and then around, and I'm just going to take that off. I'm going to jump over to the other one, which I think is riveted in, but sorry if it's too bright for you. This is kind of like a really hard way to show you the top of the bus when the light reflects off it, just like snow does, but I'm gonna try to get all this stuff off and we'll see how that turns out. So, really quick, it just looks like it's just Phillips head screws that hopefully will pull out, and I can just pull this whole thing off. And then that might be easier than I thought, but famous last words, right? Alright guys, so trying to look at this here, it seems like there is like this black sticky adhesive, and I think that's what's holding it completely down. This is very important to get off because this is around my entire plan. What I have here are the cables for my solar panels, and this hole is perfect to fit both of them through there. And that's where the solar panels are going to be up top. And so I have to get this off somehow. I did get a few crowbars, and I'm going to try to peel this thing off, but I don't know how well that's going to turn out, but I'm going to bring you along for the journey and we're going to try to take it off. So here we go. Alright guys, back on the top of the roof. I had to bust out the umbrella because it is too bright up here. And when the sun beats down and like bounces off this roof, it just gets way hotter than it actually is. Like I said, it's a gorgeous day. It's like 70 degrees and like perfect weather. But when you have the heat from the sun bouncing back up onto you, it's a little warmer than usual. It's the same thing with snow. Like, you'll get hot if you're out like walking around in the snow because the radiant heat bounces off the snow, so, and you have to wear sunglasses so you don't go blind because it's so bright. But what we're going to try to do is I'm going to try to get this antenna off because like I said, I have to get this one off specifically. I don't have to really worry about that one if I don't have to. Here we go. Alright guys, so that wasn't a pain in the ass or anything. They really glued this thing down, and I warped the ceiling of the bus, but I think that'll be okay when I actually put down the metal sheeting that's gonna go and cover this, because I'm gonna drill straight into this here, which is like this metal type stuff. There's a little gap there. I don't know, I'm gonna have to look at this a bit more, and you know, with these things, it's surprise after surprise, so you have to kind of think on your toes and work around it and figure out a solution that's gonna work for you best. So we'll see how that turns out and go from there. All right guys, now that I got that antenna off, like I said, I got just really thin sheet metal. It's pretty flexible, but I just think it's just going to be enough to keep it waterproof. So what I'm going to do is measure, it's actually the same size as this, so that's my measuring tool. Measure how big that I'm actually going to need it, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take a utility knife and score a line and see if I can just break it in half instead of having to cut it. And then after that, I'm going to have to drill a hole, because this cup looking thing is where my cables are going to go for my solar panels. The cables will be fed through here underneath the bus, and this will come out and it'll be all waterproof, so nothing gets down into there. And that's going to fit perfectly right in the middle. So all I'm going to have to do is just drill a hole big enough for those two cables to fit through, and then that on top, silicone everything, and waterproof it, and it should be good. And then I can start putting the solar panels together and then put that up there and go from there. Ta-da! Just like that. So if it's something very thin like that, you can just take a X-Acto knife or a utility knife, score it, and then bend it, and then just pops right off into two pieces. So this will be the big half that I was just showing you for that antenna, and then this will be the perfect size for that other side there. So let's see what we can do from there. All right, so now that I got my pieces cut here, I'm going to go up top. I'm gonna place it over where I need it to be, and then I'm gonna come back down here, mark it with a Sharpie, and then try to drill a hole out of this guy. Okay, now I can just take it and roughly, there we go. Okay, so what I'm going to start off with is I'm going to take this butyl tape and make a complete seal going around the whole thing. I'm not going to try to clean this extra stuff off because, I mean, it's all going to be down to it, so leaving the extra silicone that's already on there, I don't see it being a problem, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to seal this down, and then along the edges, after I've screwed everything down, is going to be just silicone all the way around. So I think it's going to be a pretty tight seal. So we'll see how this turns out. All right, now that I got the butyl tape on there, and it's like very sticky adhesive, but it's waterproof, so you can use it on like for your sink or for anything that you're trying to waterproof. So now that I got this down, I'm gonna take 1-inch self-tapping metal screws, and I'm gonna just attach this straight to the bus, and I think I'm gonna go right in the corners through the butyl tape, so it's going to be very weatherproof. So we'll see how that turns out. Ta-da! It's not the prettiest thing in the world, but I think it's gonna do. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let it dry. The silicone will fully cure in like 24 hours, it says. So I'm gonna let it dry in the sun for a little bit, and then I might paint it with the same paint that's on the roof. That way it doesn't like get super hot because it is metal. And then I'll put this right on top, and I'll drill holes into that guy and run my cables through. That way it has a protective shell, and you can get access to the inside of the bus through this covering. So I'm gonna let that dry and do its thing, and we'll come back and try another one. That was way easier. All right, guys, so that's the one that I showed you before. It's not like I said, it's not the prettiest thing in the world, but I feel like it will do. Still drying. While that one was drying, I actually went ahead and did the second one, and it looks way better. I guess once I do something the first time and then the second time, I make it look way prettier. So I'm gonna let that one dry as well. And I'll come back probably tomorrow and paint these and put that topper on that guy. But I still have some daylight for today, so I might go ahead and start putting on that first L bracket I was talking about at the beginning of the video, and see if that one doesn't give me that much trouble, but we'll see. Alright guys, so I don't know if you can see this at all, but I went from underneath the bus and I took a Sharpie and I marked lines all the way up, all the way around until I got center. So I know that is the exact center of that first rib that's underneath the bus, so I can drill straight into this. So what I'll do first is I'll take a little bit of the butyl tape. Guys, this stuff is pretty cool. It's like putty, and or like silly putty, but it's watertight and weather resistant, so you could use it on anything, like I said before. It's gonna act as like a really nice sealant too. So I actually have these roofing screws, about 1 inch. What are these, 1.5 inches? Yeah, these are 1.5 inches, and should be able to go all the way through with the putty and stuff on top, and have enough room to go through all the rib. So let's try this out, see if it'll work. All right, so that's definitely not going anywhere. That was a lot easier than I was expecting, but I'm glad it's working out a little bit better, and that butyl tape is just oozing out everywhere, so I know it's going to be water and air tight for everything. So looks like it's going to work out. All right, guys. So the second one that I'm going to actually drill through is if you notice, there's a little air gap underneath because the bus has a slight curve to it. So what I did is I actually took pieces of PVC and cut them to size so they fit perfectly underneath there. So that's gonna give that the rigidity it needs to sit on top. And since it's PVC, it's not gonna rot or anything like that. So what we're gonna do is do the same, put some butyl tape underneath and try to drill it in there and see if that will do, see if that'll work at all. All right, that's on there. That's not going anywhere. Awesome, so my measurements were correct. So it hit both this stud and then that other stud. So that is not, yeah, that's not gonna go anywhere. That's awesome. Hell yeah. Alright guys, so I was able to get that second piece up, but as you can tell, the beautiful Colorado sunset is telling me that I ran out of time today. So this will be part one. Part two will be coming and I'll show you how I'm going to put the solar panels together, and then how I'm going to actually mount them up there, and then probably part three depending on how long it takes, because the more and more you build, the more and more things come up and you don't realize how long those things are gonna take, so. So yeah, be looking out for those. Those will be coming here very shortly, I promise. And once again guys, thanks for watching and tagging along, and we're getting one step closer to having unlimited power and looking pretty forward to it. I'm gonna go take a shower and enjoy the rest of my night, but like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, bye.